All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. He's Garland. That is the championship belt. Well, we will talk more about next week because we'll have a date set and we have a little different format that we're going to do for this next one. But in the meantime, we are here to discuss Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Season 1, Episode 6, Level Up. For some reason, I had on there, I had the
I don't
whole
know what you
title in there.
have that
I don't know
head on.
where I got that from. I was
Oh,
moving so fast today. I was moving so fast. I was off today. I was trying to get out. I said, let me put this up now. So I was moving so fast that happened. Whatever. I don't know if you heard that thunder out there. I'm sitting by the
yeah.
window, so it's raining, thundering, and lightning over here in Park Heights. But anyway, how things going with you, G?
I'm good, Brody, bro. Just making it do what it does, on a Monday and stuff. These praying for the people down in Louisiana and the people down in Mississippi and all that's dealing with Hurricane Ida. Yeah, man, it's just I got my feet done over the weekend, so got my foot scrubbed like Myra's. They pulled out the little joint like I can tell when my feet need a lot of work when they really start talking Korean when you in there. They be like, like
You
they sent to the back for reinforcements.
you really got to watch the show on TLC called My Feet Are Killing Me. Have you seen that?
I've seen that. Yeah, the sister,
Bruh.
yeah.
Bruh, they got some feats on there.
Yeah, my feet
um,
ain't in that condition.
anyway, just for everybody joining us, as you know, you can have your conversation appear on the chat and we can see it, and we will, as we go along, we'll answer some of the questions or discuss some of the things that you all say. If you do want your thing to appear, you will have to either log on through the All Things Black page on Facebook, All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. You can also log on and view us through the Twitter page, which is at ATBWGANDC, and that stands for All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. And you can do that on Twitter, and you can join the discussion. You can also join the discussion on YouTube with All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. And you can also join us on Instagram. You won't be able to see the discussion there, but if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can do that also. Again, if you're on Facebook, you would have to comment on the All Things Black with Garland and Calvin page for us to see your comment. If you comment on my personal page, won't be able to see it until I log off and go on there, and then we can have a discussion then. But if you want us to see it here, you'll have to do it on the actual page, the group page. Also, if you want us to see your name, you have to give Facebook permission to put your name in Restream. And there's a link down in that also, and I'll put that up again. I won't do it while we're doing this, but I'll put that up again when we leave. But anyway, Garland, why don't we get into it? This was a episode that we have been waiting for since they gave us a little vacation last week
Right.
or whatever. But anyway, what's
Yeah,
going on, Shanika? How you doing?
Yeah, 50 knew we was working hard on this. 50 and Courtney Kemp, they knew we was working hard. So they like, we're gonna give them a little break and whatnot. So we back. So let's go ahead and pick it up. As Calvin said, episode 6, level up. After a brief hiatus from last week, we pick up this week with the Thomas clan recovering from the attack on their stash house. Kanan possibly being Detective Howard's son, and Rock planning to set up shop in the projects for the family business. And so let's start with our first subject of the night. The streets need a body. Yo, that was a slamming track. The streets need a body. And so Bulletproof Records is having a showcase promoting its artists. And last week, we saw Famous in the studio with Jukebox singing the hook on his song. And so we see that Lulu, who's the really the financial backing of the label, he's setting up this showcase with them with oh my God, what's Quincy Brown's character's name? Oh wow, why I want to forget that? The music
Yes,
producer.
but yes,
Yeah, we're gonna get to him.
yes.
Yeah, and so they get to perform the song "The Streets Need a Body" at the showcase, and it goes over very well. A stunned Kanan stands in the audience and realizes the song has some information about the murder of his boy D Wiz. And so, Calvin, what did you think about that song? The streets need a body.
Play your good side. You're on the wrong side. One day when we make the rules, don't be playing us for no fools. Yo,
The
first
streets
of
need a
all,
body.
first of all, I actually thought the song was hot when they were singing it in the studio. I can't even front. I did see some people on Facebook today talking about they were sick of hearing her sing because she can't sing anyway. They said the white girl can sing a little better than she can. But hey, Jukebox was on it, man. I can't even front. And then my man Famous, Streets Need a Vice. Hey, Famous was on top of that beat. I can't front. I thought the song was pretty hot. I do like how 50 came in with the commentary and gave us the little, a lot of these rap dudes talk about stuff that they don't know about, that
Right.
they're telling stories that's really someone else's story. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was a hot track, but I really like the way the show is put together. I really like the way the show is put together. Even 50 commentating over it, it's really good. Somebody said it was trash.
Yo, who said that? Oh, Muhammad, Noridian, Muhammad. Look,
My
it
man
had
Dino
the
said it was
perfect
trash.
it had the perfect 90s, like late 80s, 90s beat. I mean, you really would have thought that they wrote that joint back then. I mean, it wasn't coming up with no trap beats. It wasn't, it was like really for that era and all. And so I don't know if 50 wrote it or not. My guess is that he probably did. But yo, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm surprised they didn't drop that on Spotify or something today. I'm sure it's gonna be a soundtrack probably coming out of this with something, since we have this kind of like this label piece, and so I'm sure it's going to be some music from Power Book 3 that's going to end up on a CD or streaming somewhere. But I was impressed. He did a good job with that, and I like the little hook and all. I like the way that she set it off, talking about the South Side Queens, and what it was all about. So it was a nice little cute thing. I was thinking about the other acts that performed too. You had the dude with the big high top, flat top. I was like, yo, they really are staying in the era, man. I mean, this is kind of like Kid and Play Kwame type joint right here that they really hitting on.
They definitely stayed in the era because what Juke was wearing and what Famous was wearing was definitely not stage gear. They straight looked like they just seen them walking down the street, was like, you and you, we need y'all to perform in our little local talent show. And that's
Right,
exactly how they was looking. They did not look like they were trying to get a record deal or anything. They were
right.
looking straight from the block.
Like he just came out the house like, yeah, I got my Flavor Lees on and my top 10 Adidas, and we're gonna do this. And so yeah. So the streets need a body. Now the money behind the label we know is Lulu, and this is an opportunity for him to create another revenue stream for the family through a legitimate business. As a matter of fact, he kind of seemed a little gauchish when he was talking about, yo, we can't have any violence up in here, this is not the spot. And I was kind of thinking like, yo, little shades of Ghost right there when Ghost used to be talking about the club. And so now, although he wants to go legit with the music, he has to deal with other forces, mainly his sister and their competition, Unique. And so, he goes and tries to politic with Unique, and, like, yo, no violence tonight. Let's try to chill out. Sister, she wants to set up shop to make dollars because she's all about the business. I'm about, this is how you get to do your label, because we out here slinging, and so don't forget that. And so to make sure that the evening goes off with a hitch. And so this was Lulu's time to show improvement. So how do you think he did with this?
So I guess back then when we think about it now, you can't have no hip hop party in the hood and not expect there to be any fights or anything. Now, granted, he started the fight in there to save his own life, but you can't expect that. I mean, I know what you want. You got beef at the door. You can't come in here strapped. Now, along with that, his sister, when Rock rolled up, you see how dude he just kind of settled down. He had all the action
Right,
for
right.
Lulu, but he settled down when Rock walked up. And you can't really tell Lulu's face. He kind of keeps a stoic demeanor all the way through the entire series. But I don't know if he was feeling that. Like, I need to get the respect. I don't need her to get the respect. But the one thing I guess they didn't know back then, and they didn't realize back then, which is another reason why I really like the show, is that rap music is going to blow up and get you money. Where he was talking about this is another stream
Right.
of income for us. Now we would know that if you can get into the game, you can get into the music game and be a producer and get to own your own masters. You talking constant stream of income, millions of dollars. So he had that foresight to say, this is another stream of income for us. Of course, Rock doesn't see that. She's like, we down on supply, we at war, we need people. Like, yeah, streets need a body, but these drugs need bodies too. So we need to set up shop up
Right.
in this party of yours. I mean, look at everybody in here. So, but I think Lulu is handling things well. Of course, he couldn't really anticipate what was going to happen to him, but I'm glad he got the little nod, and I'm sure we'll talk about his boy a
Yeah, we're
little
gonna talk
later.
about the
But
boy a
well,
little later.
he got the little nod, and he had to shut his party down. So I want to see next week if he's probably not going to be really happy about that, because again, this was his shot to try to get another stream of income. And like you said, that's shades of Ghost right there, trying to get out of the game, and Tasha trying to pull him in the game. Lulu
Right.
looks like he wants to do something else other than the game, and Rock is like, nah, it's just about the game.
It's about the money. It's about the dollars. And it's like Lou, he's trying to make his own identity. Yeah, he's the baby brother. And um, he's kind of like the ghost. One of our Facebook users said that, he's kind of like the ghost of the family, and so, he's trying to make his stamp. And he's got, his girl is really putting a battery in his back. It's like, yeah, you could do this. You the money, all
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
that, and
she
the other.
is.
Yeah. And so, he's feeling that and that power of that. And, definitely, he's trying to make his mark and all. And as I'm not, Rock's little brother, I'm not the baby of the crew.
Right.
I can make moves, and so I want to see where they go with this storyline and all. Lou, he really has ambitions and stuff, and maybe he's saying that I don't necessarily have to do it this way, or I could be the legitimate side of the family while you guys, move those vials, and so we'll see what happens with that. Now, the next subject we're going to talk about is heavy is the head that wears the crown. As the head of the family, Rock has a lot on her plate. Their connect has decided to stop supplying them. Her most trusted brother, who is Luke, he's preoccupied with the music showcase, and her plan to take over a couple of the apartments in the projects have run into a problem with the building inspector trying to extort her for some ass. And so, also, she's working on keeping Kanan out of the streets as well. And so, she handles the drug connect. She makes the connection with the woman at the bodega. Like, look, I need you to hook me up with SA and Louis and your family uptown. I know they got the connect. She's always kind of like a couple steps ahead. So hook me up with them Colombians that you got in your family, and let's look at some other suppliers. Also she handles the building inspector who wanted more than money. He wanted a little gawk gawk. He wanted a little he wanted a little gawk gawk 5,000. And so, but she calls Marvin to finish him off, to finish off the task. And so let's deal with Marvin first. Now, it's obvious that someone is going to discover the body that Marvin stuffs behind the drywall. Now, how dumb was that?
Hey, man. So maybe he should have hollered at Snoop, and Snoop could have, told him to go to Home Depot if they had it back then. Heckinger, it was probably Heckinger back then. Get him
Right.
some lime, get some lime and throw it in that
Oh,
wall,
he ain't know about Chris and
But
Snoop. Would say, yeah, that's Chris and Snoop was way after that. He needed to talk to the
yeah, it
Baltimore
was way
people how
after
to
that.
do this.
Way after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it might be a dumb move, but they killers. They don't care, and they practically own the building. They can do anything they want. If a smell pops up in the building, dude ain't gonna call the police.
Right.
Rock just gonna tell them handle that. Get in there and clean it out. Do what you gotta do. Spray something on it. Spray some awesome on it, or something to get the smell out of there. You handle that.
Right.
So they ain't got that. That's not their problem. Rock said get rid of him. Rock said make him feel it, make a meal out this nigga, and he made a meal out of him. Now, I mean, damn, he ain't had to pump him in his head twice with the goddamn nail gun. After he told him his story, was like, "You'll see." Well, you're not going to see, but they'll see.
Right. Right.
I appreciate you listening to me too. He, pop pop.
Man. Yeah, Marvin just, if that was Lulu, Lulu would have had some acid, would have poured it on the body up in the sink. Lulu would have figured out another way to get rid of the body, not stuff it up in a wall and put some drywall over top of it. And so, yeah, we're gonna see how that comes back to bite
It
them
may
because
come back to haunt him.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna come back to haunt them. That pretty soon you're gonna be like, yo, I know this ain't but dusty. This a dead body up in this wall. This reminds me of a story. I worked for the housing department for the state, and so one day we were out in East Baltimore on Biddle Street, over near St. Francis Academy. We were looking at some buildings where this nonprofit is doing some development in the area, building affordable houses and all. And so we were standing on the corner looking at these particular buildings, and it stank outside this day. It was a very hot day, but it really smelled foul. Like, Baltimore smells sometimes when you're near some vacants and you think it's a lot of dead rats in the vacant. And if y'all remember Kathy Pugh talking about, pew, it stink around here. Tear down these buildings. This was around the same time. And so we didn't think about it. And the next day on the morning news, as I'm looking at the news to get ready to go to work, they found a dead body in the house that I was standing in front of. It was a
mm,
dead, deteriorating body inside of the house. They don't know how long it had been in there, but the smell was so strong that particular day, man. You could smell it for a couple blocks. And so I'm pretty sure that's going to happen to my man, the building inspector. Pretty soon, we're going to be smelling his booty. Now, Rock, she always seems like a couple steps ahead, Calvin. You think she's slipping though? She put Marvin on the business and she's trying to handle the connect. She's trying to do this. She's trying to balance her love life. I mean, what we looking at with Rock right now?
I think so. Rock is trying her best to stay out of a full blown war. Rock is trying to do it the thinking way, the smart way. She's trying to outsmart Unique, because Unique got the muscle. And as we've talked about before, all Rock got is her two brothers and her son. Unique got the muscle, so she tried to throw the spy in there. As we see in the previews for next week, she's admitting that we definitely got to go to an all out war here. But I don't know. I don't think she's being dumb about it. I just think she's doing what she normally does. It's going to be interesting to see how she handles this war, because she's going to have to get her some soldiers. And we don't see many soldiers. Of course, we saw Marvin going up to a couple different people, a couple different of the corner boys, telling them to get ready, or looking for the one set of corner boys that didn't get the drop in. But we'll see what happens. But no, I think she's fine. I think she's doing a great job. She still has the respect on the street. She's not letting Symphony cloud her judgment clearly. Now, I do think it's bothering her that dude found out that Kanan is his son. I think that's
Right.
bothering her, because when she was cutting his hair, she said to him, "I need to know what he said to you.
Right.
Like I need to know, like, what did he say?" Which to me, Kanan said, "Yeah, he said that you liked him a little bit." Like, he ain't even pursue that anymore. Like, I'd have been like, "So, Mom, you like the police officer? Like, you know him? Like, why ain't he in your pocket? Why ain't you paying him off?" You know what I mean?
Right.
You think he would do a little more of that, but he didn't do that. So somebody said Marvin did some old Pablo Escobar stuff. He absolutely did. He absolutely did. But I think Pablo would be a little smarter than that.
Right.
The insulation, like someone said, is not going to eliminate the odors. But what Marvin didn't even put the insulation in front of him. He just went and put the wall over top of him.
Yeah. He just put the body in the wall and just like, okay,
Yeah.
Come on,
The
dude.
insulation was on the side and in back of him, but he ain't put nothing in front of him. So if he lean forward, he gonna bleed through the wall. Like that's just
Right,
drywall.
right.
Like just anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So we see what happened with that. Yeah, as a matter of fact, you brought it up. We might as well touch on it before we get to our next point. Rock and Symphony, they break up. So all the light skinned brothers that out here, we were feeling good off of Symphony. From the Shamal Moore Society. I know a lot of the sisters probably was a little upset. Maybe he too light though, because sisters talking about they like chocolate now and stuff. And so you know, Symphony, he and Kanan was sticking up for him. Kanan was like, "Yo, I like homeboy. I asked him to, quit silent and all this stuff." And so, you know, do we still think he the feds? We think he gonna go snitch now?
I think he the feds. I think he's gonna find a way to get back in there. He know he fucked up. He know he fucked up. He is definitely the feds. He is in there trying to bring that organization down. So this is a bump in his road. So he gonna have to find a way to get back in there. But he's already in there because even though Rock may have broken up with him, he still has Kanan's respect, and Kanan's still going to his class. So he still has his way in there. Still has his way in.
Right, right. Yeah, this actress, she really has that New York accent down. She's excellent in this role. I really love how she just, she goes at it and stuff. And so, yeah, I felt a little bad for Symphony, because Symphony, he's been a down brother, fight the power in a fight the power type of way. Would you say down?
Man, man,
Light
I don't like
skin
none of them
unite.
light skinned chumps. They don't need none of them light skinned chumps on shows.
Light skin powers activate.
His name is
Wavy
Symphony.
hair. His name
His
is
name is Symphony.
Symphony
Symphony.
Casket. He a 5%er, bro. God Allah.
Symphony.
Yeah, arm, leg, head, arm, whatever it is. All right.
Nah.
And so young Kanan, he has a plan. Kanan proposes a plan to Marvin about taking over a local gas station in Queens to move product through. Although tempting, Marvin doesn't bite. So it's probably safe to say at this point, Calvin, that Kanan is more cut out for the business than Marvin, because Kanan coming up with these $1 million plans to make it work. What you thought about young Kanan's plan right there?
Yeah, so Kanan is definitely proactive, like Lulu. They think. Marvin is reactive. Marvin is one that just like they talked about in one of the other episodes, like you fuck everything up. Marvin is one that you got to point him in the direction, and you literally almost have to write down step by step what he needs to do, because if you don't, he's going to stray off and do something else and going to fuck up the whole plan. So I don't think that's bad on Marvin, but that's just his role. He's more of the muscle, the executor. He executes the plan. He's not the one that comes up with them because his plans don't seem to work out well. So he executes the plan. Now, it does seem like when he went to the guys at the end that he's going to go with Caden's plan and see how this works out for him. I'm kind of interested to see how that works out, because when he said it, even I was looking like, so how you going to do that? Like, what they going to come in and be like, give me
Right.
25 on 6, and that mean you throw him a couple rocks or something? Oh, I didn't understand.
It's kind of like what was the Spike Lee movie with oh my god, Mackay Fight Clockers. It's like when they had the store and stuff. People come by to get an ounce from the carry out or whatever. They were moving ounces through the carry out, and so I guess that's what it's gonna be. We moving
Yeah.
ounces through. This is a spot. You come up to this pump. You hit the horn a couple times to bring you out a couple ounces. So we got to
And
see
and what Kanan was looking at wasn't even the local money. He was looking at that white money, that traveling money, them college kids that are stopping off on the highway
right,
getting that
exactly,
gas and will pay more than what they would normally charge on the street. So they were looking at getting more money. So yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. And that's another thing. Someone did say they're gonna rock it up. Yeah, because that's
right,
what Marvin said. They buy powder, and he was like, that's because ain't nobody ever introduced him to this rock. So they're going to
right.
introduce them to that crack, and that gas station going to be booming.
Right, right, exactly. Now let's go to some loose ends. Now let me ask you this first thing before we get to some of our other loose ends. Was Detective Burke trying to hit on Jukebox? Now you know Detective Burke. She's Detective Howard's partner. She's out in the street doing some work or whatever. Because Howard he's out here looking for Kanan, trying to get his blood so he can get this so he can live. And you know she sees Jukebox out here with Nicole. You know they hugged up. I mean they weren't kissing, but you know I guess I don't want to say this. I'm trying to be appropriate, y'all. Maybe she had her gaydar on. Maybe gay people know other gay people. Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know. But anyway,
So,
yeah. And so
but
she comes up like, yeah, you know, I could keep secrets and you know, giving her like, yo, I'll break out the strap up on you and see what's up. So uh, did I read that wrong?
I don't think you did. So let me take it a step further. And I could be wrong because clearly all my theories have been wrong in every show that we've ever done. All the theories I've ever had have been wrong. I don't think of any that have gone right. But I got a theory on this. I do think that she's trying to manipulate her to, of course, get information on the family. But I
Mm,
also think that she's the reason Jukebox becomes a detective in DC.
okay.
So we already know we've been, and I've seen people talk about it on Facebook and all. Everybody's trying to find these connections from this show to Power to Ghost and Tommy. Um, this would be her avenue into being a police officer and being a detective in DC by getting with this lesbian police officer in New York in the city that she lives in. So I think that's going to happen. So, but she absolutely, I think she was really just trying to get next to her to get information for the family. But I think she's using the fact that she's gay and she clearly sees that Jukebox is gay to try to get in and make a friend. So you know, we'll see. But I really think that might be the reason.
Yeah, she was trying to holler at Juke, like, look, you know, we can have secrets together. Mm, okay,
They,
all right,
I,
all
we'll
right.
see. We'll see
Let's
what
see.
happens. We'll see
Let's
what
see. We'll
happens.
see what happens with Juke. Now our girl Nicole out here smoking wools. Now my people from up north, they probably know what a wool is. I think Deshaun is on here. You know, smoking wools is what Raekwon talked about when you lace weed with crack, made his eyes bleed in the song. And so we got Nicole up in here with Crown Camacho and the crew smoking wools. So it looks like Nicole is about to be a candidate for She Watched Channel Zero, like she about to be a crackhead.
Yeah, and she didn't question it. She just kind of took it. She just kind of smoked it,
Right,
and I mean that. I guess that's her gateway into the life. And then on the
right.
bus, she was high as hell on the bus. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand.
Isn't Crown Camacho like sprinkling the
Clearly,
crack on top of the on
yeah,
top of the weed?
clearly, clearly.
Yeah, she started smoking woods at 16. The
which
combination made her eyes bleed.
which again could be part of the storyline. She kind of has now. Jukebox may have problems with her getting high. She goes to the
Mhm,
police officer. They get to talking.
mhm.
Next thing you know, Jukebox in the academy. Then she get back with her boy Kanan, and they running capers from DC to New
Right.
York.
Yeah, you know this Lose Girl was like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stick with the champagne. And that's probably because also
Mm-hmm.
Lou like, look, I don't do no drugs. We don't, you know, don't touch the product. You know, as Easy E said, don't get high on your own supply. You know, she probably like,
Biggie,
yeah.
Biggie.
Well, he got it from Easy.
Okay, okay. 10 crack commandments.
10 Commandments, but he got it from Easy. Easy said, "Don't get high on your own supply." And so, well, how you going to test the hip hop professor?
My bad.
Okay,
My
all right.
bad, sir.
You might have the
We
championship belt, but come on now.
we we recognize East Coast in these parts.
Come on, man. It's all coast, baby. All right, now I want to say R.I.P. to Scrappy, but I don't know if Scrap is dead. Now, if you don't remember this from last episode, yeah, because it looked like his eye was twitching. Now, if you remember from last episode, Rock decided that she was going to plant Scrap in Unique's crew, kind of like as a turncoat to, get information to feed back to the crew of what was going on inside Unique's operation. And so he goes in, hey, I don't like Kanan. He pretty much like, I'm down with y'all. Now, I thought he was dead. I thought that man was dead, but then I don't know. I think he didn't look dead. Look at his
uh,
eye. Y'all go back and look. It looked like his eye was twitching. But
I'm
anyway,
gonna have
I'm
to
gonna say
watch it again
R.I.P. Watch it again. We
because
okay. Scrap dead. Scrap
he
dead. All
looked
right.
dead to me.
He looked
Bro,
dead
he
to you.
looked dead to me.
I thought they
He was
tortured
in
him.
his Fruit of the Looms. He's in his Fruit of the Looms. He was laying out there bleeding from his head. It's like they beat him up and looked like I thought they shot him in his head. I thought they beat him up and shot him in his head. If he was twitching, they must have just because I think you heard the gunshot and then Rock came down and saw him outside. So they probably just shot him and he was just, clinging on to that last bit of life. But nah, he
He
bro
done.
dead.
He done.
He
Okay.
dead. He
He
did.
did. He
If
did.
he ain't dead, he ain't gonna be part of the story no more because there ain't nothing that he can do for him.
Right.
Nothing that he can do for
Yeah,
him.
so
He
they
dead.
dump him in front of the crib and everything. My man, Unique. I'm telling you, Joey Badass is really playing the heck out of this role. I think the acting on this joint is so good. Everybody's kind of real solid in terms of this acting and stuff. I really, his pontification of, is what's happening here real or is the streets real? We ain't me and you have a conversation, but we ain't dead. But out in the streets, if this was happening in the streets, somebody died, someone had to get shot. So that whole piece, that whole dialogue, that was pretty slick. But yeah, RIP to Scrap. They try to, do some deep state 40 with Scrap and put him in undercover, but he kind of gave the sign to he might as well just a scream to Lulu, like Lulu, watch out, they're gonna shoot you. And basically, that's what he did. He was all like, Lou, yo, Lou, oh, Lou, Lou. He should just scream like, Lou.
Yeah, I really thought that, and I think that he also thought that they were going after Kanan. They kind of rolled up the show kind of showed you they rolled up behind Kanan, but they looked past him and went straight to Lou. But as the dude said, so I think Rock had him in there to make sure that they don't mess with Kanan. But I think they planned this one to go after Lou because they knew he would kill Kanan. He would have Scrap would have no problem killing Kanan, but he wasn't like they said. We knew you wouldn't shoot Lou. So as soon as he, gave him the little sign, they was like, yeah, he a snitch. He gotta go. And then he called him turncoat in there. And by the way, Joey Badass's character, not only did he pontificate on him, but right after he left, he switched up on him, was like, oh yeah, we about to go in there and kill him. Like
Right,
his
right,
character is straight
right.
gangster. You cannot trust him. And I absolutely love it. Unique kills that. He kills
Yeah,
it.
Unique is kind of like a Marlo Stanfield in a sense. It's like all about business. It's very well thought out. He's like 10
Hmm.
steps ahead in the game. And so, yeah, I want to see what, happens in response to this. It looked like they're going to go to war in terms of what we saw in the previews. And so we'll see what happens next week with Power Book 3, Raising Canaan. And so we got a couple little open ends. Detective Howard, he's out here asking about what if he had a son? Would his son be able to be his donor? We're gonna see what happens with this, fight at the club and the killing of Scrap, and we see what happens with Kanan idea. It looks like Marvin tries to do something with it, but of course, in Marvin type of way that he does it, doesn't look like it's successful. So, we
And
got in next week.
and Detective Howard, it's kind of crazy because he finds out that Kanan is his son, and instead of trying to have a relationship with him, he's just trying to get his bone marrow. And it's so
All right.
weird because back in like the early '90s, Detective Howard had his own juice, but now he has to look at Kanan, and Kanan got the juice now, so he got to get the juice. But hey, I'll be here every week, y'all. Every week I got these jokes for y'all. Make sure you tip your server, please.
Oh, well, still going to help Kanan out. So we'll see. Anyway, man, let's go ahead with the closing viewpoints, man. You want to go first? You want me to go ahead and jump in here?
You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay. Last was it last week? It might have been week before last. You know, we saw something that was very hyped up. As a matter of fact, I got hyped up on it because I saw it on Twitter. Uh, I saw a tweet from my girl Shakari Richardson. She said, "Tune in," because she was about to race these Jamaicans. Man, on Saturdays, I try to get outside and get a little, sun, a little vitamin D, and But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure I'm home around this time, and I'm gonna set the DVR to tape this. And so I'm sitting down. I'm like, oh wow, this actually the race is coming up pretty fast because sometimes TV, they'll draw it out as long as they can to keep you watching the program. But it was the second race that was televised from the meet. And so I sit on down. I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna see what's up with old girl, little weed she got, taken out, but we're gonna see her come back against the Jamaicans. And um o- old girl old girl was running with some Tims on, and I saw a meme. She had a bag of weed and some Tims, and she was running, and the Jamaicans was running like they was running to some jerk and some oxtail and some cocoa bread or something. They was running to a red stripe or something. I don't know what my girl Shikari was running to, but Shikari came in dead last. Like booty butt ball naked last. Like it wasn't even a dispute of who was last. If it was a race for who would win last place, she would have won last place, Calvin. I mean, she got her back blown out. She got hurt bad, man. But this actually leads me to my point of which I'm trying to make is a lot of times, man, you can't talk stuff and then get blown out. And I think as a society, we're too sensitive about, we can't talk about people's failures. And Shikari failed. I mean, she had a chance to go ahead and get ready for this race. She had a lot of time off because she fumbled the Olympic bag. She fumbled them couple $1 million that she would have wrapped up during the Olympics. But she had time to get it together, and this is what she did with her time. And so it's all right to criticize Shikari because you can't get out here talking snap and you come in last place. At least come in fourth, come in fifth, but don't come in dead last, Shikari. And so y'all, it's okay to talk about Shikari. It's nothing against black women. I didn't seen all these think pieces. Oh, they always talking. It's against the black woman. No, you was last, honey. You was talking stuff, and you came in last. So before you get out here talking stuff, before you get out here talking about I'm gonna be back, all this other stuff, you got some stuff to work on. Because I don't know if that Olympic bag look is promising it maybe a couple months ago. You fumbled on the first bag. We think you're gonna come back for the second bag. I'm not quite sure because you got some work to do. So be humble. Be humble and put in the work, yo. Put in the work. That's all I gotta say.
I'm not mad at Shikari, and I know a lot of people are getting on her, but um, there's some other things that are at play for me. And I don't know if she's thought about this because she seems to be very reactive, very brash, which is very good for her sport. We will never talk about track and field until the Olympics.
Right.
We have Allison Felix, who's won the most medals ever. We'll never talk about Allison Felix. We'll never talk about her. If it wasn't about FloJo, we would never talk about track. Even the men's track, even men's track, we just wouldn't talk about it. This gives us a reason to talk about it. This gives
Right.
them a reason to shine a light on their sport. Because of that, she'll never lose endorsements. Which Nike decided to stick with it. Now, does she need to get better? Yeah, she does. But this is the nature of sports. You talk trash, you get beat down, you got to come back and show and prove. Then you can talk more trash. It's
Right.
just the nature of sports. So I'm not mad at her about that. A lot of people are, oh, you shouldn't be talking. Maybe she shouldn't be, but maybe she should. Would you care if she didn't? If she didn't talk, none of us would care and we wouldn't have any reason to watch it. It gives us another reason to maybe get on her, but it also gives us a reason to celebrate other black women because these Jamaican sprinters are absolutely amazing. They finished one, two, and three in the Olympics and then went to the Prefontaine and finished one, two, and three again. Like, it gives us a reason to celebrate black women and it gives us a reason to celebrate other cultures. So I'm not mad at her. Yeah, she needs to get better, but continue to do what you do. It's the nature of sports. Men do it all the time. They talk, they get beat
True.
down, they come
True.
back and do it again. So,
True. Yeah, I don't
so
dispute that. Mhm.
yeah, my thing today is 16, around a little over now, 16 years ago. Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. It was devastating.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't just the storm. Of course, it was because the levees broke. And you can have your theories that they bombed the levees to get black people out of the neighborhoods. We can have all those theories. Kanye, who put out his album this weekend, Donda, but he famously went on there and said George Bush does not care about black people. He also, prior to that, talked about how they sent the National Guard in not to help black people, but to kill and shoot the looters, anyone that's robbing and stealing.
Mhm.
It's been 16 years since Katrina. Hurricane Ida hit, and literally, they have made no improvements to protect the state of Louisiana. They are still going through the same thing, which baffles me. Why haven't you done anything to improve what could have happened or have a better emergency plan for these people? Now, maybe they have something in place for them, but there's still people tweeting out, sitting on the roof of their homes trying to get help. People are still dying. They're showing the where they closed the floodgates, but the floodgates are just as high as they were then. Like, it's like, do you not think this could happen again? I don't understand how a country of our size, of our stature, of our economic position would let something like this happen again. I mean, if you had to, just wrap the state up in a bubble. You can't stop the weather. You're not going to completely defeat it. But for these people to go through the same things that they went through 16 years ago, it's absolutely ridiculous. It also makes me think about when Texas went through what they went through with the power grid. They were told this power grid has to improve, and they did nothing to improve it. And these people were out of electricity. And what does one of the senators do? Run to Mexico and try to act like he wasn't going there to avoid it. Like, we need to do something about these elected officials, about the state of humanity that people with the means have with people with less means. I mean, it's disheartening to know that no one cares. You're on your own. It's like you have to care for yourself, and there's nothing you can do with weather. You can't fight it. You can move, but can you really afford to move? People can't afford to just pick up and go. I read a real quick thing on Twitter where a guy was evacuating and he went to the security guard and said, "Are you evacuating?" And she literally said, "I can either evacuate and get evicted or stay and pay my rent." You literally have to choose between life and living when it comes to something like that. That's absolutely ridiculous. No one in this country should be put in that position. And that's it. That's all I have to say. It's just disheartening. I hate it.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you. I think, we has, the country has some challenges, particularly, and you hear people say, well, why are they still there? What everyone just can't leave. People just don't have
Exactly.
places to pick up and go. I saw something about oh my God, he played on The Wire. He played Detective Bunk, Wendell Pierce.
Yeah.
He's from
Yeah.
New Orleans, and he had set up some housing for his family in Houston to get there in a hotel or whatever. His dad, who's 96, and other family members. And when they finally got there, they had given their room away because they said they were too late. Well, you have all these people uh, evacuating from New Orleans and from the surrounding little towns and areas. The highways backed up. People just can't drive out, and so they lost their room because the hotel gave it to someone else because they said it took them too long to get there. And so people just they don't have places to go. They may not have family in other places where they can go and be safe and be sheltered. And now we're looking at, they said that it might be almost several weeks or maybe close to a month before they get electricity back. And so, yeah, it's some major things that, infrastructure rise and, taking care of people mostly that
Just
we
taking
need to
care
do
of people.
better as a country. And so hopefully, we don't have to have another Katrina and another Ida. And I understand there was another storm that hit New Orleans. They've had a history of storms hitting at the end of August. It's hurricane season. And this is like the third major storm that they've had that's come through maybe in the last couple decades and all. And so, just prayers up for them and everyone else that's in that path that's going to be dealing with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But anyway, everyone, this was our little discussion on Power Book 3 Raising Cain, episode 6, Level Up. Don't forget to join our groups, as I mentioned, on Twitter and Instagram. It is at ATBWGANDC, and that's All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. And on Facebook and YouTube, it is All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. So make sure you join our groups. Join us next week. We're actually going to do Tuesday since next Monday is Labor Day. We are going to do the episode 7 on Tuesday. That's if they air. Stars does have that habit of not
Right.
airing on the holiday. Not like HBO will air it out, but Stars does have that habit. So they may not air a show, but if they do air a show next Sunday, we'll be back Tuesday and not on Monday. So anyway, we thank everyone for joining us. Once again, this is All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. He is Garland. That is the championship belt, which we will talk about next week.
Come back home to daddy. Come back home to daddy, belt.
We thank you all for joining us. Everyone stay safe. Enjoy your Labor Day, and we'll catch you next week. All right, Garland. Later,
All
man.
right, y'all. Peace.